Sundown U version 1 motor. Jakey Boy designed this one, or had it approved. Either way, I think the only thing he probably did was add the little. This is like a diamond blade cut into the top plate to add a little more surface area, a tiny bit more surface area. Maybe some vertical venting, but again, most woofers are mounted sideways, so it doesn't really matter. I'd love to see somebody do a different pattern on top as the heatsink. As we reviewed the DD Digital Designs 9500, they actually put holes down the top plate for more venting. So this one uses a dual 1-inch slugs. I got the thing here. Let's see, it's the pole has a diameter of 74.3. So this part 74.3. I thought it was kind of funny that the center hole, the vent is only 3/4 of an inch. Typical is 1 inch, but I think Jacob still likes to play around with Venturi effect stuff, where technically it does have higher velocity and better cooling, but what it does is it creates noise. So if you mount the woofer reverse with the magnet out, it can cause some chuffing. So it's just kind of annoying. And again, if you go with the standard 1 inch or even bigger, like you saw maybe on Rockford Fosgate on their, so I think it's the old Punch Power one, or even their early Power series, they went really big. So again, that provides even more surface area. But let's see, pole is 74.3. The top plate ID is 87 millimeter, which is kind of chubby. You can fit quite a thick coil in there. In fact, the first time that I rebooted this was a 15, and I made it an 18, and then we had to tear it down and recone and rebuild. I used the Gonzo coil, which, by the way, is on sale. It's only $50 shipped. We have a single 2 ohm and single 4 ohm. All the specs and stuff are on Facebook Marketplace, but again, just text me direct, 602-312-6504. Let me know your name and your shipping address, and I will add you to the phone, and then we will go over your options. I found out somebody needed these for some American bass subwoofers, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So, but I thought it would be perfect for this one, but it's not quite. So the top plate is only 15 millimeter thick, which I thought was a little. He could have gone thicker, I thought. But anyways, that's just my opinion. But standard middle is about there, so it only have that much excursion. So this coil is too long, and that's what I heard was it was bottoming out. Typically on something like this, that if it's only a double stack and the top plate is as thin as it is, you're going to need a shorter coil. And so this is the 180. I don't know if you can see that 18702. It's a 50 millimeter wind height. This is the D2 version. I think they also make a D4 version. This is more appropriate. So you have a little bit of wire hanging out, which is fine, but then your excursion is way down there. So that's before it bottoms out. So it's just a little bit more excursion. Now the former height isn't super tall, and so I have to get rid of the spacer ring that Sundown had on there, which is this guy. So not that it really does anything. Like I described on the DD motor, I'll show it to you real quick. So, see on that one? It's got the venting on the side. You can create the same effect by just putting something in here in between the frame and the motor. I like to use the 10 millimeter skateboard bearing spacers. They're steel, and you can stack them if you want for even more clearance. But this is what Jacob uses. He designed this. It's got the brand on it. And it's made of either zinc or aluminum, probably aluminum. You don't really want to cheap out on that. The two bolt hole patterns on this are 150 millimeter and 127. So if I was to make a duplicate, I would actually want to add the 135 pattern. But really, you only want to use that 135 pattern if you're going to use the TI frame, the V2 version 2 of the TI frame, which is the Scott Atwell Phi car audio version, and that uses a 135 millimeter bolt hole circle. But again, you don't want to go with any more than 50 millimeter for the double stack version. So for us, I would actually create a triple stack version, and that would be a more appropriate for the TI frame, and then of course a longer coil. So let's see. The bottom plate, the T-yoke part of the T-yoke, and this is not branded on the back that I saw. So typical double vent. It's actually 25 millimeter. How thick this is, the T-yoke, and then I put some spacing on when you start doing the bevel and things like that, but it doesn't really matter. And then you measure the end points to give the factory an idea. A lot of times you just go, hey, make this one, and they go, oh yeah, we know that one, and you can make it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use this Skar frame again. This is the Skar EVL 18, and I picked up some hardware from Lowe's. These are only like $2.50, which I thought was great. And these are just standard M6s, which is what most motors from China use. Some of them, I've seen it on the Soundstream SPLX and also on the Orion HCCA, you know, the big red versions. They use a number 10 by 32, which I thought was odd, but you know, on the Orion HCCA, they actually use 8 holes. Which would be good, but for some reason on the SPLX they use 6, but it's just a number 10 32, which is smaller than the M6. I don't know why they do that, but so I'm going to do a 8.5 inch spider as the lower control spider. Some of that is to cover up some of the grinding that we had, and then we're going to use the ABS spacer. I think I'm going to use. I think I'm just going to use one. I probably can use 2. And then we're just using, I forget, I think this one's from Lord of Base. And then you just pick which terminal side you want to use. And we're going to use 4-gauge terminals. And then I think I'm going with the Gonzo cone. But that's all you basically need. But just a quick review on this. It's a good motor. You just don't want to use it with anything that's larger than, well, you can use it on the TI frame. But you want to make sure that your coil is short. So we talked earlier about that on the... I think it was, can't remember, it was something gold. Again, I mix up CT Sounds, Wolfram, and the other ones, but I think it was the Wolfram one where they had used the white TI frame, but the motor wasn't tall enough, and so you have to use a short coil. And when you use a short coil, you're not really using the big spider. So for a 50 millimeter coil, an 8-inch spider is plenty. You're still going to get like 2.5 inches of excursion, which is plenty. It's only when you get into the 3-inch excursion range and you need a longer coil to achieve that in a box, especially. And even that is very, very rare. That requires quite a bit of voltage, and then you start burning up stuff. But anyways, I think I'm going to leave the protected venting in there. I don't really want to mess with it right now. And you can see the difference. If you look at the molding difference, this one has little cutouts that I think are for strength. If you look at the RE audio version that Scott and Mark had tooled up, it doesn't have any of that. It's just real thick. And I think they don't have the 7.5 inch backup landing either. They just have the 8-inch, and then that's it. So, and then that one was used on the original XXX and also the MT, and I think on the XXX, or not the XXX, the SX versions and things like that from RE Audio, which has now been absorbed into US Amps, and I think they just shelved the RE brand for now. They might reintroduce it as something premium that's like super magical on top of US Amps or something like that, but that's typically what you want to do. I also like this version because they have the little reinforcements, because that was another problem, was these breaking. But the RE version is actually thicker. This one is a little more, I wouldn't say AI useful, but somebody went back and actually took their time to make some real good changes, and Skar paid for the tooling on this one from what I know, and this is a very good version. I love it. That's it. I love you guys.